Hi, I'm Jon Lewis. I am the Distinguished Professor of Film Studies in the School of Writing, Literature, and Film. I've taught film and cultural studies here at Oregon State University since 1983, so a long time. So I have a bunch of questions here in this cup, and I'm going to try to answer them. How did you get interested in film, and what made you want to teach? What made me want to be a professor? Well, I'll give you sort of the short version. When I was an undergraduate in the mid-1970s, the university I went to didn't have a film school, and that was actually typical. There weren't many universities that had film departments, and many schools had maybe one, maybe no film class. And there was an American Studies class on campus that was showing a film one night, and I knew the guy who was the projectionist, and I went to school in upstate New York, and it was really cold, and I just wanted to get out of the cold, so I went in to hang out with my friend while he showed this movie, and the movie was a 1947 film noir called Out of the Past, which I highly recommend. And I was just taken by it. And I had been studying literature, and I figured I was going to be an English major and maybe an English teacher or English professor. But I knew at that moment that there was something about film that I seemed to understand kind of instinctively. I eventually went to film school at UCLA, and had the choice there at the end of my tenure there, which was about 1982, of whether I wanted to go into the industry or whether I wanted to be a college professor. And I had been working for a kind of in the marketing division of Columbia Pictures. And, you know, there was definitely a future there if I wanted it. But I really wanted the university life. I wanted to get back to school. I wanted to be a college teacher. And so I made that decision in 1982 and got the job here in 1983, like pretty much right after I made that decision. And here we are 36 years later, and I'm happy I made that decision. What is my favorite film and why? And I think I don't have a favorite film. If it is, it's The Godfather, but it's more for the fact that I've written more on The Godfather than on any other film, and written more about Coppola than any other director. And I think if you combine Godfather 1 and 2, which people often do, that's the best 6 hours of cinema I think you can find. Yeah, maybe Godfather. Do I have any advice for a student who might want to work in Hollywood? Well, I can tell you that I was working in Hollywood and decided I didn't want to. So the first thing I would say is you have to have a certain kind of personality. You have to be willing to hustle, and you have to be willing. You're always working for somebody in Hollywood, and I think that's what bothered me. And being a college professor, you kind of don't work for anybody except yourself. And I think for my temperament, that worked. So if you go out there, you know, no matter how talented you are, you're going to have to work your way up. Sounds like a cliche, but you're gonna have to work your way up. And there are plenty of my former students have gone to Hollywood and have tried to make a career there, and you know, some have been sort of modestly successful, but a lot of them, most of them, began as production assistants or as assistants to producers, and these are jobs for which you don't need a whole lot of training. You know, you don't know how to if you don't know how to operate a camera, doesn't matter. Now, these students did know how to operate a camera, and they knew film history, and they were probably smarter than and more talented than the people they were working for. But it's you know, there's a process. So I'm a little, I would say, only go there if you're sure that's what you want to do, and if you're willing to do what you have to do to sort of get what you want. I teach a series of classes that track American film history from the advent of the medium in 1895 through the current day, which is 2019. So thank you very much, and see you at the movies, I guess.